Hello everyone! Welcome to Messy Heart, where we dive deep into troubling accounts and messy relationships, hoping to provide support and advice to those who might seek it. Let's head into our first story. Listen carefully and give us your thoughts on the comments section. Story 1. My fiance set boundaries around what I can talk about with him. Is this healthy? Essentially the title. My fiance and I have been dating for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. Over the last 2 years, he's asked me not to talk about or drastically limit how much I talk about certain topics, including work, niche topics that I've extensively researched and really enjoy, and our wedding. Today, he added the cat I recently rescued to the list. This has severely limited the topics that I talk to him about and made me feel that he just doesn't want me to talk. This is backed up by comments that he's made about how monotonous and hard to listen to my voice is. Writing this out, I totally understand that I sound like a boring person, but he knew most of these things about me coming into the relationship. We knew each other before we started dating. However, I understand that those things aren't everyone's cup of tea. I used to talk at length about these topics, but I've worked really hard not to talk about them too much with him. I even set daily reminders on my phone not to talk about the topics that bother him until it became a habit. Initially, he said I didn't need to set the reminders, but he was noticeably happier when I started talking less in general. Meanwhile, he continues to talk at length about the similar topics that he's asked me not to, work and his favorite topics to research. When I've brought up what I felt like was a double standard, he said that anyone could understand and relate to his work, whereas he doesn't understand mine. I've also made an effort to at least listen to and encourage his research topics, even though they're not my thing, and he says that these are the only things he has to unwind outside of work, a physical public-facing job. It does make me sad. I believe in encouraging people's favorite topics, and I'd really love to have that reciprocated from my partner. Instead, the list keeps getting longer. When I want to give him important updates on my work, like that I'm going after another job, I have to preface my update with, "I'll make this quick or 2-minute update," and even then he looks like he's been forced to endure. Several times when those things, especially work, which has been especially rough for me this year, are all I can think about, I find myself with very little to say that won't go against the boundaries he's set, but I still want desperately to talk to someone. On those days/weeks, we'll have very surface-level conversations. Especially then, I talk a lot to our 3 cats and now the rescue cat, mostly nonsense things about how sweet they are and silly made-up scenarios, and then we just slow blink at each other back and forth. It's great. This upsets my fiancé. He's made comments about how he'd have to act like a cat if he wants me to talk to him and give him attention. I've explained that I'm just going through stuff at work and don't want to talk his ear off about it. I've tried having conversations about how to resolve this so we both get what we need, but he usually turns it back on me in some way. This can't be healthy, right? Or am I overthinking it/missing something? We're about 2 months out from the wedding, and I'm struggling to finish wedding DIYs because of what this would mean for the rest of my life. What piece of advice would you give to OP? Let us know down in the comments, and let's move on to our next story. Story 2. My boyfriend did something that made me feel disgusted and disturbed. Where to go from here? To start off, my boyfriend and I have been dating for around a year. He is generally very touchy. He wants hugs and kisses constantly. Every minute we are together, does not matter if I am busy at the moment or if I want some space. I like touches. I like it when I had a lot to do, had a long day, and then came to my boyfriend to cuddle and chill. However, I feel suffocated when he wants to touch me all the time. It does not matter if we made out 3 minutes ago, he wants it again. Even if I have things to do or if I am busy doing something. He will come to me, physically turn me towards him and start making out. I am not a fan of this. This morning something happened that is still on my mind. I feel sad thinking about it. He stayed over at my place for the night. We spent yesterday together, had sex, went for a walk. It was a nice day. In the morning I had to get up early and make us some breakfast. When I was frying us some eggs, he approached me 3 times to turn me to himself and make out. Everything in my expression showed I was displeased. I said I was in a hurry and needed to get ready. It's like he did not care. He then pushed me to the couch in a sitting position, sat on my knees, and started to kiss me aggressively on my face and neck. The sad thing is, all this time while sitting on me, he was pushing me with his morning wood. This situation happened 3 times in a matter of these 30 minutes I was trying to get ready. This boner showing and face eating. He told me he loves me like 10 times that day, and I feel fucking sick and assaulted because he does not care that I don't like being followed around my flat constantly. I feel like I have zero personal space when I am anywhere near him. This morning when I was trying to change my t-shirt for a work one in a hurry, he was standing right by me, touching me up back and front and looking at my boobs. I feel like I am a sexual object, not a person that is worth respecting. Share your thoughts with us and let's move on to our next story. Story 3. I don't want to hang out with my trans friend anymore. What do I do? A little backstory. I moved to a new country a little over a year ago. This was when I met my friend Kara. We became pretty good friends very quickly, and I appreciated the fact she was a friend in a new place where I knew no one. A year on from meeting her, we've only gotten closer. Kara is a trans woman who had begun the process of transitioning almost a year before I met her, but she was still very new to the lifestyle, her words not mine, when I met her. Because of this, a lot of the things we spoke about initially in our friendship were very centered around her transition and first steps into openly queer life. She admitted there weren't a lot of other people she could speak about this with, and she enjoyed finally having someone hear her out. While I genuinely enjoyed learning about Kara's POV and experience as a trans woman, I also encouraged her to share other things with me, such as her tastes in music, art, and generally what she likes to do for fun, all of which are very queer. We often go to a lot of events together. We hung out at our city's Pride Festival and see each other a couple of times a month for drinks or general hanging out. I wanted to be someone she could celebrate herself and identity with, and I think I accomplished that. Problem is, I think that identity dominates our friendship now. When we hang out, Kara will insist on listening to her kind of music, lots of indie rock, queer artists, and sapphic bands, a lot of which I don't really vibe with, but I never say no and don't complain when she does. However, whenever I play my type of music, dad rock, rap, Afro-soul, R&B, she may listen to 1 or 2 songs before changing it to her music again, claiming she wants to show me a new artist/song. I let her vent to me about her frustrations with work and her struggles in her romantic life. I even sat with her and let her cry on my shoulder when she broke up with her most recent partner, spending 2 hours consoling her. However, when I try and speak to her about my frustration, she seems to get this glassy look in her eyes, and she'll murmur a few affirmations before changing the topic to her experiences, because it reminds her of something she went through. These are just a few of the many one-sided experiences I've had with Kara. I know she's a good person, and I know it's unfair, but I've started to resent her and her queerness. As someone who's recently discovered and accepted my own bi/pansexuality, I understand how important someone's identity is to them, and I would never want to be someone who makes others shrink themselves to make myself feel seen or heard. But I've caught myself thinking things like enough with the trans talk or another lesbian indie band recently. I really hate that I feel this way. I don't want to hate who my friend is or despise the things she likes, believes in, and relates to. How can I tell her this without her thinking I'm a giant transphobe and shunning her identity? How can I fix this? Share your thoughts on the story as we dive into our next story. Story 4. How do I reject an insanely clingy after first date? So I went on a date with this guy yesterday, and from start to finish it was one big mess of red flags and icks. Also, I thought he was 19. He is insanely clingy after meeting literally 1 time. For example, I gave the date a clear ending point by saying I would have to leave to go to the gym that evening, to which he enthusiastically insisted he joined. I ended up saying in that moment a simple no, I'd like to go by myself. He then started trying to force himself into my gym plans the following morning. Then he showed up at my workplace today, which made me insanely uncomfortable, being so disrespectful as to vape inside of the small independent store and demand to be able to use my staff discount. The worst part is that after we parted ways last night, I never even sent a single follow-up message, so he did all this and I hadn't even texted him in the less than 24 hours. How do I reject this man, please? I've never had to reject someone before. Date. He came back into my work twice today, still after not a single message having been exchanged since the night we hung out. Last night I drafted the message I would send him but wanted to send it appropriately in the morning instead of at 1 a.m. and so didn't get a chance to send it before he paid me 2 visits today. I told my manager about him and my coworkers are on alert. I'm also switching up my routines as many have suggested, but now I'm a bit more ambivalent about a hard rejection. How about that one? Let us have your thoughts and advice down in the comments section. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to check out our other videos and, as always, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Never forget that your smile is your best feature. Wear it proudly. See ya!